Your mind is stronger than your emotion. Your emotions can be loud, but your mind can be louder. It's not always easy, though. We all experience intense emotions that can throw us off course. But learning how to take back control is one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. Imagine being able to pause, reset, and act from a place of clarity instead of being driven by your emotions. When you learn to manage your mind, your emotions no longer dictate your actions. Instead, you choose how to respond, calmly, thoughtfully, and effectively. Mastering your emotions begins with mastering your thoughts. In this video, we're going to dive into how you can strengthen your mind to stay in control, even in the most challenging moments. If you're tired of letting emotions drive your decisions, and you want to take back your power, stay with me. I'm going to show you how to reset, how to think clearly, and how to make decisions that lead you to success and peace. It's all possible, and it starts with you. Let's dive in. Number 1. The power of the mind over emotion. Your mind is stronger than your emotions. This is a truth that too many people overlook, especially when they're in the heat of the moment. Emotions can be overwhelming. No question about it. They can hit us like a wave, leaving us feeling swept up, out of control. But when you learn to harness the power of your mind, you realize that emotions don't have to rule you. It's easy to get caught in the current of how you feel. You might wake up in the morning and feel down, discouraged, or overwhelmed with everything you have to do. It's in these moments that your emotions try to take control. They tell you that today is going to be tough, that things won't get better, and that you might as well just stay where you are. But when you recognize the strength of your mind, you realize you have the ability to change the course of your day, regardless of how you feel. Emotions are real. They come from deep within us, often triggered by our thoughts, our experiences, or even the environment around us. But they don't have to define who we are or what we do. You are not the sum of your emotions. Your emotions do not have the final say. Your mind does, and the sooner you accept this, the more control you'll have over your life. Think about it. How many times have you faced challenges and felt like quitting? Maybe you didn't feel like going to work, or you didn't feel motivated to finish a project. That's your emotions speaking. They're telling you that it's okay to take the easy road, that it's okay to feel sorry for yourself. But deep inside, there's a stronger force: your mind. Your mind knows better. It knows that the long-term payoff, the reward for pushing through, is far greater than the temporary comfort of giving in to your emotions. There's no denying that we all experience emotions. You can't ignore them, and you shouldn't try to suppress them. They're a natural part of being human. But when emotions start to control your actions, that's when the problem arises. When you let your feelings dictate your behavior, you can end up making decisions you'll later regret. Maybe you'll cancel plans because you don't feel like going. Maybe you'll let a small setback stop you from moving forward. When you let your emotions call the shots, you give up your power. This is where the power of your mind comes into play. Your mind is your control center. It's the place where all your decisions, your actions, and your thoughts are formed. Your mind is the source of your strength. It's capable of shaping your reality, even when your emotions are trying to pull you in the opposite direction. But here's the thing, it's not always easy. It takes practice. It takes discipline. It takes learning to separate what you're feeling from what you're doing. It means recognizing that emotions are temporary, but the choices you make in response to those emotions can have lasting effects. One of the most important things you can do is to become aware of your emotions without letting them control you. This awareness allows you to step back, take a deep breath, and make a conscious decision about how you want to respond. Your emotions may be loud, but your mind is louder, and when you focus on your mind, on your ability to think clearly and rationally, you can make better decisions and take more positive actions. Let's look at an example. Picture this. You've just received some bad news. Maybe it's a setback in your career, a personal disappointment, or an unexpected challenge. Immediately, your emotions may start to flood in. You feel angry, sad, frustrated, or scared. Those feelings can make it tempting to throw in the towel, to give up, or to act impulsively in the moment. But when you shift your focus to your mind, you can take control of the situation. Instead of reacting out of emotion, you take a moment to think. You evaluate the situation, weigh your options, and choose your next steps based on logic, not on how you feel right now. Your mind is capable of guiding you through any storm. It can help you navigate through difficult emotions, even when they seem overwhelming. The key is to realize that emotions are not permanent, but the decisions you make today will shape your future. So when you're in the midst of a challenge, remember that your mind is stronger than your emotions. You have the power to stay calm, focused, and determined, no matter what you're feeling. Building this mental strength is a process, but it's something you can develop over time. Start by practicing self-awareness. The more you become aware of your emotional state, the more you'll be able to control how it influences your behavior. When you feel that rush of emotion, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, is this emotion serving me? Is this helping me move toward my goals? If the answer is no, then use your mind to shift your perspective. You can choose to let go of that negative feeling and replace it with a more empowering thought. Another way to strengthen your mind is by developing a mindset of resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after setbacks, to keep going even when things don't go as planned. Life is full of unexpected challenges, and it's easy to feel defeated when things don't go your way. But when you develop mental resilience, you learn to accept challenges as opportunities for growth. You learn that setbacks aren't failures. They're lessons that teach you how to improve and do better next time. Resilience comes from within. It comes from the belief that you are capable of overcoming any obstacle, no matter how difficult. And that belief is powered by your mind. The more you practice resilience, the stronger your mind becomes, and the less power your emotions will have over you. Here's a simple but powerful exercise to help you build mental strength. Practice gratitude. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you shift your attention away from negative emotions. Instead of getting stuck in frustration, anger, or disappointment, you train your mind to focus on the positives in your life. Gratitude is a powerful tool for shifting your mindset and strengthening your emotional resilience. It helps you maintain perspective, even in the most difficult times. Another important aspect of mental strength is self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to stay focused on your goals, even when you don't feel like it. It's the ability to push through discomfort, to keep going when things get tough. Self-discipline is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows stronger the more you use it. Every time you make a choice to act despite your emotions, you strengthen that muscle. When you consistently practice self-discipline, you teach yourself that you are in control. You are in charge of your actions regardless of how you feel. Over time, your mind becomes more powerful, and your emotions will have less influence on your behavior. The power of your mind is limitless. When you learn to harness it, you can accomplish anything. You can overcome challenges, break through barriers, and achieve your dreams. But it starts with understanding that your mind is stronger than your emotions. It's about taking control of your thoughts, your actions, and your future. When you make that choice, nothing can stop you. Remember this, your emotions are just that. Emotions, they are temporary, fleeting. But your mind, your ability to think, to reason, to make decisions, that is permanent. It is the foundation of your strength. The next time you feel overwhelmed by emotion, remind yourself, my mind is stronger than this. I have the power to take control, to stay focused, and to keep moving forward. The choice is yours. Will you let your emotions control you, or will you harness the power of your mind and rise above them? The answer is simple. Choose your mind. Always choose your mind. It's the strongest tool you have. Number 2. Why emotional decisions can ruin your life. Emotions can be powerful. They can lift you up or bring you down, all in the span of a few seconds. But as much as they are a natural part of being human, they can also be incredibly dangerous if you let them dictate your decisions. Emotional decisions, when made without logic or reasoning, have the potential to derail your life. They can affect your relationships, your career, your health, and your overall happiness. The consequences can be lasting and sometimes irreversible. When you make a decision based solely on how you're feeling at the moment, you're not seeing the bigger picture. Emotions cloud your judgment, making it easy to fall into traps that seem right in the heat of the moment, but turn out to be harmful in the long run. The key to living a successful, fulfilled life is not to act impulsively based on emotions, but to learn how to pause, think, and then choose with intention. Think of the times you've acted emotionally. Maybe it was a heated argument where you said things you didn't mean. Perhaps it was a moment of frustration at work, leading you to quit your job on the spot. Or maybe it was a decision made out of fear, where you avoided something important because the emotions were too intense to face. Each of these situations has one thing in common. They were all driven by emotion, not by thoughtful reasoning. And when you look back, you may realize that those decisions caused you pain, regret, or even long-term damage. When we are emotionally charged, our ability to think clearly diminishes. We become reactive instead of responsive. The rush of emotion takes over, pushing logic and rational thinking to the side. It's in those moments that the risk of making a poor decision increases dramatically. But here's the thing. Decisions made in a state of emotional distress often don't reflect who we truly are or what we truly want. They are more about the moment, the immediate release of that emotional pressure, than about the long-term consequences. Take a look at your relationships. How many times have you said something in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? Perhaps you lashed out at someone you care about because you were angry or frustrated. In the moment, your emotions felt justified. But in the aftermath, you're left with hurt feelings, damaged trust, and regret. Emotional decisions in relationships can create long-lasting damage that can take months, even years, to repair, if at all. When emotions rule your interactions, you lose control of the outcomes. Words, actions, and decisions can spiral into a mess of misunderstandings and hurt, making it harder to rebuild the connection. In professional settings, emotional decisions can be equally destructive. Picture a moment when you were overwhelmed at work, and instead of calmly assessing the situation, you reacted emotionally. Maybe you yelled at a colleague, or maybe you made a snap judgment that later affected your career trajectory. Emotional decisions often feel relieving in the short term, but in the workplace, those kinds of decisions can cost you your reputation, your job, or even your career. They also disrupt teamwork, alienate people, and create tension in the environment. When you let emotions guide your professional actions, you sacrifice your own future stability for the sake of temporary relief. Consider also the impact on your health. When you make decisions based on strong emotions, whether it's stress, anger, sadness, or fear, you may choose unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with them. Maybe you binge eat to numb your feelings, or maybe you lash out and hold on to anger, causing stress to build up in your body. The physical toll that emotional decisions can take on your health is often underestimated. Chronic stress, poor eating habits, lack of sleep, all of these are common byproducts of living emotionally reactive lives. Over time, they weaken your immune system, cause fatigue, and contribute to serious health problems. Emotional decisions do more than just affect your mood, they affect your body too. And then there are the financial decisions. How many times have you made purchases or financial choices out of impulse or emotion? Maybe you bought something you didn't need because it felt good in the moment, only to regret it later when you realized it was a waste of money. Emotional spending is a prime example of how unchecked emotions can wreck your financial stability. When you make financial decisions based on your feelings rather than sound judgment, you risk draining your savings, accumulating debt, and harming your long-term financial security. But it's not just the big decisions where emotions can lead you astray. It's the small, everyday decisions too. How many times have you given in to a temporary craving or desire, only to later feel regret? Maybe you've skipped exercise because you didn't feel like it. Or maybe you've avoided something important because it felt too overwhelming. Each of these small emotional decisions adds up over time, contributing to a life that's less aligned with your goals, values, and aspirations. Now, I'm not saying that you should ignore your emotions. Emotions are part of what makes us human. They are indicators of what's going on inside, and they can provide important information. But the key is to recognize when emotions are taking over, and to learn how to make decisions from a place of calm, clarity, and reasoning. It's about creating a balance between acknowledging your emotions and using your mind to navigate through them. Here's an important practice to keep in mind when you're faced with a decision and your emotions are running high. Take a moment to step back. Don't make a decision right away. Give yourself the time and space to let the emotional intensity settle. This pause is crucial. It allows you to process your emotions, assess the situation, and consider your options before acting. More often than not, you'll find that after a bit of time, the emotional charge has faded, and you can make a more rational, thoughtful choice. Another practice is to write things down. When emotions are high, writing can help release some of that emotional energy. It can also help you see the situation more clearly. And from a more objective standpoint, writing gives you a chance to step outside the emotional moment and gain some perspective. When you do this, you're not allowing your emotions to dictate your next move. Instead, you're taking control of the decision-making process, empowering your mind to make the right choice. Developing self-awareness is also key. The more you understand your emotions, the better equipped you'll be to manage them. Take note of the situations or triggers that tend to lead to emotional decisions. Recognizing these patterns gives you a chance to plan ahead and create strategies to handle those emotions in a healthier way. Maybe it's taking a deep breath before reacting, or maybe it's giving yourself permission to step away from the situation until you're able to think clearly. Emotional decisions don't just impact the big moments in life. They influence the small, everyday choices that shape who you are and what your life becomes. And while emotions are powerful, they should never be the sole driver of your actions. Learning to respond to situations from a place of calm, thoughtful reasoning is the key to making better decisions, achieving your goals, and building the life you desire. At the end of the day, the more you learn to separate your emotions from your decisions, the more empowered you become. You gain the ability to choose your actions instead of reacting to what you're feeling in the moment, and when you do this, you begin to break free from the cycle of emotional decision-making that often leads to regret, frustration, and missed opportunities. The next time you find yourself making an emotional decision, ask yourself, am I acting from a place of clarity, or am I letting my emotions lead the way? Take a moment to pause, think it through, and remember that you have the power to choose how you respond. When you make decisions from a place of calm, you make decisions that will serve you in the long run. Your future self will thank you for it. Number 3, training your mind to stay in control. The ability to control your mind is one of the most important skills you can develop. It's not just about having a strong mind, it's about training your mind to stay in control, no matter the circumstances. Every day we face distractions, challenges, and emotional triggers that can easily pull us off track. The question is, can you stay focused and make decisions that align with your goals, or will you be swayed by momentary impulses? In life, the difference between those who succeed and those who struggle often comes down to this simple truth. The more you can control your mind, the more you control your life. Success isn't about external circumstances. It's about how you respond to those circumstances. Your ability to stay in control of your thoughts, emotions, and actions is the key to achieving lasting success and personal fulfillment. But let's get real for a moment. Staying in control of your mind is not easy. It takes consistent practice, awareness, and discipline. Your mind is constantly bombarded with thoughts and emotions, and it's easy to get caught up in them. Whether it's negative self-talk, fear, stress, or external distractions, there's always something vying for your attention. However, with the right training, you can learn how to regain control and guide your mind to work for you, not against you. The first step in training your mind is to develop awareness. Awareness is the foundation of control. You can't control something if you're not even aware of it. The moment you become aware of your thoughts and emotions, you create space between yourself and them. This space is crucial because it gives you the power to choose how to respond. Without awareness, you're simply reacting to everything that happens in your life, driven by automatic patterns of thought and behavior. Take a moment and reflect on the thoughts that dominate your mind. Are they positive or negative? Do they help you move forward, or do they keep you stuck? Are you constantly thinking about past mistakes or worrying about the future? Most of us tend to get caught up in these patterns, and before we know it, our minds are controlling us, not the other way around. The key is to step back and observe your thoughts without judgment. This awareness will allow you to break free from negative thought cycles and take control of what you think. Once you've developed awareness, The next step is to strengthen your ability to focus. In a world filled with distractions, focus has become a rare and valuable skill. The ability to stay focused on one task, one goal, and one vision, regardless of the noise around you, is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who never reach their full potential. Focus is not just about paying attention, it's about directing your mental energy to the things that truly matter. It's about saying no to distractions and keeping your eyes on the prize. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. We have notifications, emails, social media, and countless other things vying for our attention. And while it's easy to get pulled into these distractions, they can prevent you from making real progress toward your goals. The trick to staying focused is to create an environment that supports it. This means eliminating distractions, setting clear priorities, and being disciplined with your time. It also means learning how to say no to things that don't align with your goals. Every time you say yes to something that isn't in line with your priorities, you're giving up a piece of your mental energy. But when you learn to focus on what matters and avoid distractions, you create a mental environment that fosters growth, progress, and success. Training your mind to stay in control also requires building emotional resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and how you respond to challenges will determine your success. Emotions are a natural part of being human, but when you let them control you, you lose your power. Emotional resilience is the ability to stay calm, composed, and focused, even when life throws you a curveball. It's about accepting that challenges are a part of life, but not allowing them to dictate your mood or your actions. Emotional resilience doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending everything is okay when it's not. It means acknowledging your emotions and then choosing how to respond to them. For example, if you're feeling anxious about something, you can acknowledge that anxiety, but instead of letting it paralyze you, you can choose to take action despite it. This requires mental strength and the ability to stay focused on your goals even when your emotions are telling you to do something else. One powerful way to build emotional resilience is through mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment without judgment. It's about observing your thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to create a mental space that allows you to respond to emotions in a calm, measured way. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can pause, take a deep breath, and choose your response based on logic and reason. Mindfulness can be practiced in many ways. It can be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to sit quietly, focus on your breath, and observe your thoughts. It can also involve practicing gratitude, journaling, or engaging in activities that bring you into the present moment, like walking or meditation. The more you practice mindfulness, the better you become at managing your emotions and staying in control of your mind. In addition to emotional resilience, training your mind to stay in control also requires developing mental discipline. Mental discipline is the ability to consistently follow through on your commitments, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the things that need to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. This kind of discipline is what keeps you moving forward, even when things get tough. The key to building mental discipline is to create habits that support your goals. It's easy to let your emotions dictate your actions, especially when you're tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. But when you have disciplined habits in place, you can continue to make progress even on the days when you don't feel like it. This could mean getting up early, sticking to a workout routine, eating healthy, or making time for personal development. The more you practice mental discipline, the easier it becomes to stay in control of your mind and your actions. Another important aspect of training your mind is developing a positive mindset. Your mindset shapes everything you do. It influences how you view challenges, setbacks, and opportunities. A positive mindset doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means approaching life with the belief that you can overcome obstacles and that you have the ability to create the life you want. It means focusing on solutions, not problems. A positive mindset allows you to see the silver lining in every situation. When things don't go as planned, instead of getting discouraged, you ask yourself what you can learn from the experience. When you face a setback, you view it as a temporary obstacle, not a permanent roadblock. Training your mind to stay positive even in the face of adversity is one of the most powerful ways to stay in control. Finally, training your mind to stay in control requires patience and persistence. You're not going to master this skill overnight. It takes time and effort to develop mental strength and control. But every small step you take, every moment you choose to stay focused, every time you pause and make a conscious decision, is a step in the right direction. The more you practice, the stronger your mind becomes. Remember, you are not your thoughts or your emotions, you are the one who chooses how to respond to them. The more you train your mind to stay in control, the more you empower yourself to create the life you want. The power to succeed, to achieve your goals, and to live a fulfilling life is within you. It's time to take control of your mind, and in doing so, take control of your life. Number 4. How to stop letting emotions dictate your actions. One of the most powerful things you can do in life is to stop letting your emotions dictate your actions. It's something that many people struggle with, but it's also one of the most important skills you can develop. Emotions are a natural part of being human, but when you allow them to control your decisions, your actions, and your life, they can lead you down a path of regret, missed opportunities, and unnecessary pain. The truth is, your emotions are temporary. They are fleeting, often irrational, and not always aligned with your long-term goals. Yet, so many of us make the mistake of letting these emotions take the wheel, driving us toward impulsive decisions that we later wish we hadn't made. The key to success, personal growth, and happiness lies in learning how to control your emotions instead of letting them control you. The first step in stopping your emotions from dictating your actions is to understand that emotions are not facts. When you feel angry, frustrated, sad, or even overly excited, those emotions are not permanent truths. They are simply signals your body is sending you in response to what's happening around you. The mistake most people make is believing that these emotions must be acted upon immediately. In reality, acting on emotions without pausing to think is often a recipe for disaster. Take a moment and think about the last time you acted out of anger or frustration. Maybe you said something to someone you regret, or made a rash decision that you later wished you hadn't. In those moments, your emotions were dictating your actions. You weren't thinking clearly or logically. Instead, you were letting temporary feelings guide your behavior. When you let emotions control your actions, you lose the ability to think rationally. You become reactive instead of proactive. And this is where problems arise. When you react to emotions without considering the consequences, you put yourself in a position where you are no longer in control. The power shifts from you to the emotion you are experiencing, and you begin to lose the ability to make thoughtful, deliberate decisions. To stop letting emotions dictate your actions, you must learn how to pause and create space between your feelings and your response. This might seem simple, but it's incredibly powerful. When you feel an emotion rising, take a deep breath and give yourself a moment to process it. Instead of immediately acting on how you feel, take a step back and ask yourself, is this emotion aligned with my goals? Is this emotion leading me toward the person I want to become? Will this emotion help me or hurt me in the long run? By creating this mental space, you allow yourself to gain control over your emotions rather than letting them control you. You give yourself the opportunity to choose how to respond, rather than simply reacting impulsively. This practice of pausing and reflecting before acting is essential to making decisions that align with your values and long-term objectives. In addition to creating space between your emotions and your actions, another important step in managing your emotions is to understand the root cause of your feelings. Often emotions are triggered by something external, something that happens to you, or something someone says. However, the emotional response you have is often more about your internal beliefs, past experiences, or fears than it is about the event itself. For example, let's say someone criticizes you at work. Your immediate emotional response might be to feel defensive or angry, but instead of just reacting to the criticism, it's important to step back and ask yourself why you feel that way. Is it because the criticism is valid? Or is it because you have a fear of failure or rejection? Is it because you have unresolved insecurities that are being triggered? By examining the root cause of your emotional response, you can begin to separate the actual situation from your emotional reaction. This awareness allows you to make a more thoughtful, objective decision about how to respond. Instead of reacting out of anger or defensiveness, You can choose to approach the situation with a calm, open mindset, which leads to better outcomes and stronger relationships. Another critical element in stopping your emotions from dictating your actions is recognizing the power of your mindset. Your mindset shapes the way you interpret and respond to situations. If you have a mindset that views every challenge or setback as a personal attack, you are more likely to let your emotions take control. On the other hand, if you have a mindset that views challenges as opportunities for growth and learning, you will be less likely to be ruled by your emotions. For example, let's say you experience a setback or failure. If you have a growth mindset, you will see it as a learning opportunity, and your emotions will be less likely to overwhelm you. You will feel disappointment perhaps, but it won't dictate your actions. You'll be able to take the lesson from the situation and move forward with a clear and focused mind. On the other hand, if you have a fixed mindset, you may feel discouraged, frustrated, or defeated. Your emotions will cloud your judgment, and you may feel like giving up. By recognizing that your mindset influences your emotions and actions, you can begin to shift your perspective and control how you respond to challenges. It's also important to practice emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is the ability to manage your emotions in a way that is productive and healthy. It's about understanding that it's okay to feel emotions, but it's not okay to let them control your behavior. When you are able to regulate your emotions, you can experience them without letting them dictate your actions. There are several techniques you can use to regulate your emotions, such as deep breathing, mindfulness, and self-talk. When you feel an intense emotion, like anger or anxiety, take a few deep breaths to calm your body. Focus on your breath and allow yourself to relax. This will help you regain control over your emotions and prevent them from dictating your actions. Mindfulness is another powerful tool for emotional regulation. When you practice mindfulness, you become more aware of your emotions and how they affect your thoughts and behavior. By staying present in the moment, you can observe your emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. Mindfulness allows you to create a sense of distance between yourself and your emotions, giving you the power to choose your response rather than reacting impulsively. Self-talk is also an effective tool for managing emotions. The way you talk to yourself can have a significant impact on how you feel and behave. If you constantly tell yourself that you can't handle a situation or that you're not good enough, your emotions will be more likely to take control. On the other hand, if you practice positive self-talk and remind yourself that you have the strength and ability to handle any situation, you are more likely to stay in control of your emotions. Another important strategy for stopping emotions from dictating your actions is setting clear goals and values. When you have a clear sense of what you want to achieve in life and what you stand for, it becomes easier to make decisions that align with your long-term vision. Your goals and values serve as a compass, guiding you through difficult situations and helping you stay on track. When you are clear about your goals and values, your emotions are less likely to derail you. Instead of making impulsive decisions based on how you feel in the moment, you will be able to make choices that are aligned with your greater purpose. This clarity gives you the strength to overcome emotional challenges and stay focused on what truly matters. Number 5. The role of self-awareness in strengthening your mind. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful tools for strengthening your mind and controlling your emotions. It's the ability to recognize and understand your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and how they influence your actions and decisions. Without self-awareness, we are often caught in patterns of automatic reactions, driven by emotion or unconscious beliefs. The more self-aware you become, the more control you have over your life, your mind, and your actions. At its core, self-awareness is about being honest with yourself. It's about looking within and confronting the truths of who you are, what you want, and how you're responding to the world around you. The power of self-awareness is that it allows you to recognize when you're not in control and take the necessary steps to regain that control. It allows you to stop reacting on impulse and start responding thoughtfully based on your values and goals. To build self-awareness, you need to begin by paying attention to your thoughts and emotions. Many people go through life on autopilot, reacting to situations without truly reflecting on what's happening inside them. But when you take the time to pause and observe your own thoughts, you gain insights that can help you understand why you react the way you do. This self-reflection is the first step in gaining control over your emotions and decisions. The process of self-awareness involves identifying the patterns that drive your behavior. It's easy to blame others or external circumstances for how you feel or act, but self-awareness forces you to look inward. Why did you respond that way? What triggered you? Was it your fear, insecurity, or a past experience influencing how you responded? Self-awareness gives you the power to break these patterns and make better decisions based on clarity rather than emotion or old habits. A simple practice to enhance your self-awareness is to ask yourself questions throughout the day. How am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? What is my true motivation behind this decision or reaction? These simple questions help you observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment, giving you the clarity to understand your inner state. The more you practice this, the more you'll begin to recognize patterns in your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Over time, this leads to greater emotional intelligence, which is crucial for building mental strength. Another aspect of self-awareness is understanding your strengths and weaknesses. We all have strengths that we can leverage to our advantage, but we also have weaknesses that we must confront and manage. Self-awareness allows you to be honest with yourself about where you need to improve. It's not about being hard on yourself, but about being realistic. By understanding your weaknesses, you can make a plan to work on them, rather than allowing them to remain hidden and undetected. Strengthening your mind means having the ability to face these weaknesses head-on and develop strategies to overcome them. Building self-awareness also involves being open to feedback from others. It's easy to get stuck in our own perspective and only see things from our own point of view. But when you open yourself up to the insights and opinions of others, you gain valuable perspectives that can help you grow. Feedback doesn't always come in the form you expect, and it might not always feel comfortable, but it's essential for growth. When you embrace constructive criticism, you take an active role in shaping yourself and your responses. Feedback helps you refine your self-awareness and gives you a clearer understanding of how you're perceived by others. When you become more self-aware, you also begin to notice how your environment and circumstances impact your mental state. If you are surrounded by negativity, stress, or toxic influences, it's hard to stay mentally strong. Self-awareness enables you to recognize when these external factors are affecting you and gives you the ability to distance yourself from them. It's about recognizing when you need a break, when you need to change your surroundings, or when it's time to set boundaries. By understanding how your environment influences your mental state, you can make adjustments that support your well-being and mental strength. Self-awareness also plays a critical role in building resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. And without self-awareness, it's easy to become overwhelmed by challenges. But when you are self-aware, you can recognize when you're feeling down or discouraged, and you can take the steps necessary to bounce back. You'll understand what motivates you, what lifts your spirits, and what strategies work best for you when times get tough. Being self-aware gives you the tools to stay strong in the face of challenges and not let emotions or circumstances dictate your responses. In addition to improving your emotional intelligence, self-awareness is also key to aligning your actions with your long-term goals. Many people set goals but never achieve them because their actions aren't in alignment with what they truly want. When you are self-aware, you understand what your true desires are and what's truly important to you. This clarity allows you to make decisions that are in line with your long-term vision, rather than being swayed by short-term temptations or emotional impulses. To strengthen your mind through self-awareness, it's essential to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment and observing your thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without judgment. By practicing mindfulness, you can create space between your thoughts and reactions. You can pause before acting, which allows you to make decisions that are thoughtful, aligned with your values, and in line with your long-term goals. Mindfulness also helps you become more aware of the patterns that might be holding you back, whether it's negative self-talk, fear, or limiting beliefs. When you notice these patterns, you can begin to work on changing them, which strengthens your mind over time. Another way to develop self-awareness is by journaling. Writing down your thoughts and emotions can help you reflect on your experiences and gain insight into your internal state. Journaling allows you to process your feelings and thoughts more deeply and see patterns that you might not otherwise notice. It also provides a space for you to express yourself freely and work through challenges. As you reflect on your journal entries over time, you'll gain a clearer understanding of your mind, your emotions, and the changes you've made. Self-awareness also helps you develop greater emotional regulation. By understanding your emotions, you can better manage them and prevent them from controlling your actions. You'll become more adept at recognizing when you're feeling overwhelmed or triggered, and you'll have the tools to calm yourself and regain control. Emotional regulation is a vital skill for strengthening your mind, as it allows you to stay focused, composed, and clear-headed, even in the most challenging situations. Number 6. Overcoming fear with a strong mindset. Fear is a natural part of life, and it's something everyone experiences at different times. But what sets successful individuals apart is how they handle fear. Fear, in its essence, is just an emotion, a response to something we perceive as a threat. But fear can be manipulated and controlled when we develop a strong mindset. This is the key to overcoming fear, and to understanding that it doesn't have to control you. Fear only holds power when you allow it to dictate your thoughts and actions. The first thing you need to understand is that fear at its core is often based on the unknown. It's the uncertainty of what might happen that causes us to hesitate, doubt, or retreat. But the strong mind doesn't let the unknown dominate their thinking. Instead, it faces uncertainty with confidence and preparation. The strongest minds are not those who never feel fear, but those who continue to act in spite of it. They use fear as a signal to move forward, not to hold them back. Overcoming fear begins with understanding that fear itself is not the problem. The problem lies in how we react to it. It's easy to be paralyzed by fear, to give up, or to avoid situations that make us uncomfortable. But every time we give in to fear, we allow it to gain more control. Every time we let fear decide what we can or can't do, we reinforce the belief that it has power over us. But when we choose to face it head-on, we weaken its grip. Fear is only as powerful as you let it be. The first step in overcoming fear is to identify it and understand it. What exactly are you afraid of? Is it failure, rejection, judgment, the unknown? Often we don't take the time to explore what our fears are, and instead we just react to them. But if we stop and ask ourselves, what is this fear really about? We begin to break it down and see it for what it is. Most fears are exaggerated in our minds. They're based on assumptions and possibilities, rather than actual threats. Once you can clearly identify your fear, you can challenge its validity. Is the thing you fear really as dangerous as it seems? Or is it just an illusion in your mind? Next, you need to shift your perspective on fear. Many people view fear as something to avoid, something to run away from. But what if you saw fear as an opportunity, instead of a threat? What if you viewed fear as a signal that you are growing, evolving, and stepping out of your comfort zone? Every time you face fear, you are expanding your potential. Fear is the marker that you are on the edge of something new, something challenging, and something that can ultimately help you grow. When you change your relationship with fear, it no longer becomes something to dread, it becomes something to embrace. A strong mindset doesn't let fear stop them from moving forward. It uses fear as motivation to act. Action is the antidote to fear. The more you do something, the less power fear has over you. When you take action, fear has less room to grow. For example, if you fear public speaking, the more you practice, the less fear you will feel. If you fear starting a business, taking small steps toward that goal will slowly erode your fear. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates confidence. But taking action doesn't mean that you won't feel fear. It just means that you don't let fear control you. Even the most successful people in the world feel fear. But what they have learned to do is acknowledge it without letting it stop them. Fear is often at its worst right before you take action. But once you push through it and begin moving forward, fear starts to lose its grip. Over time, taking action in the face of fear becomes easier. You'll begin to see that the more you confront your fears, the smaller they seem. You start to realize that fear is not as powerful as you once believed, and that you have the power to overcome it. Another powerful tool in overcoming fear is visualization. Visualization is a technique where you mentally rehearse a situation or goal. The more vividly you can imagine yourself succeeding, the more your brain will start to believe that it is possible. If you are afraid of a difficult conversation, imagine yourself having that conversation with confidence and calm. Picture yourself succeeding, handling any challenges with ease. Visualization helps to reframe fear as something that can be conquered, something that can be dealt with. The more you visualize success, the less room there is for fear to take root. Mindset is everything when it comes to fear. When you have a growth mindset, you understand that fear is a normal part of the process. You accept that growth requires discomfort and challenge. Instead of avoiding fear, you move toward it because you know that it's a sign you're heading in the right direction. A strong mindset sees challenges as opportunities for growth and fear as an integral part of that process. When you adopt this mindset, fear no longer holds you back, it propels you forward. Another way to build a strong mindset in the face of fear is through positive affirmations. When fear starts to take hold, it's easy to start thinking negatively. I can't do this. What if I fail? I'm not good enough. But these negative thoughts only reinforce your fear and make it grow stronger. By practicing positive affirmations, you can counteract these thoughts and replace them with empowering beliefs. Affirmations like I am capable, I can handle this, I have the strength to overcome this fear, help to reframe your thinking. Over time, this will shift your mindset from one of fear to one of confidence and empowerment. It's also essential to acknowledge that fear is a natural human response. No one is immune to it, and no one can avoid it entirely. Fear is not something to eliminate, but something to manage. The goal is not to rid yourself of fear, but to learn how to act in spite of it. Remember, fear is a signal to grow, to move, and to take action. Fear is not your enemy. It's your guide, showing you the areas where you need to grow and become stronger. If you want to build a strong mindset, you must be willing to take risks. Risk is a part of growth. If you want to push beyond your fears, you need to take calculated risks. It's okay to step into uncertainty and challenge yourself. Every time you take a risk, you grow. Every time you face fear and push through it, you build strength. Risk doesn't mean being reckless. It means being willing to step out of your comfort zone and pursue what's important to you, even when fear is present. Number 7. Building mental toughness through challenges. Mental toughness is a quality that many strive for, but few truly understand. It's often misunderstood as simply being tough or hard-headed, but in reality, mental toughness is about resilience, perseverance, and the ability to adapt to challenges. It's the ability to remain focused, calm, and determined, even when faced with obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. Building mental toughness isn't something that happens overnight. It's a gradual process that requires self-discipline, consistency, and a willingness to face discomfort. The key to building mental toughness lies in the challenges we face. Challenges are not roadblocks. They are opportunities for growth and improvement. It's in the heat of the struggle that you become stronger. One of the first things to understand about mental toughness is that it's not something you're born with. It's something you develop through experience and deliberate practice. Life doesn't give us mental toughness. It challenges us in ways that require us to build it. Every difficulty you face is an opportunity to become stronger, more focused, and more resilient. Whether you're dealing with personal struggles, work challenges, or physical limitations, every challenge is a chance to build your mental toughness. The more challenges you face, the stronger you become, but only if you approach them with the right mindset. The starting point for building mental toughness is to embrace challenges. Most people shy away from difficult situations. They avoid discomfort because it feels unnatural, and they don't want to deal with the struggle. But here's the truth. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. Mental toughness isn't built when everything is easy. It's built when things are tough, when you're pushed to your limits, and when you have no other choice but to push through. When you encounter challenges, instead of running from them, embrace them. See them as an opportunity to test your limits, to see just how strong you really are. When you face challenges head-on, you prove to yourself that you have the ability to overcome anything. The second step in building mental toughness is developing resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks and failures. It's about not staying down when life knocks you down. Everyone faces setbacks in life. It's a part of the journey. What separates those who succeed from those who don't is the ability to get back up. When you face adversity, you have two options. You can let it defeat you, or you can use it as fuel to keep going. Resilience is about choosing the latter. When you face challenges, don't dwell on the difficulty of the situation. Focus on how you can overcome it. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this, and how can I use this to grow stronger? Resilience is about the ability to keep going. No matter what, every time you get back up, after a fall, you become more resilient. Another important aspect of mental toughness is self-discipline. Building mental toughness requires a high level of self-discipline because the path to strength is often difficult. When you're faced with challenges, it's easy to give up, to quit, or to take the easy route. But self-discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing through discomfort, staying focused, and continuing to move forward, even when things get tough. Self-discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the consistency of your actions, day in and day out, that builds mental toughness. Every time you choose to stay committed to your goals, no matter how difficult the path may be, you are building your mental strength. Mental toughness also requires a sense of purpose. When you have a clear sense of purpose, it becomes much easier to stay focused and committed, even when challenges arise. Purpose gives you the strength to keep going, even when you're exhausted or discouraged. If you don't have a strong why, you'll be more likely to give up when things get tough. Purpose acts as your anchor during difficult times. It's the reminder of why you're doing what you're doing. When you're facing a challenge, always return to your purpose. Ask yourself why this is important, and remind yourself of the bigger picture. When your purpose is strong, challenges become stepping stones rather than obstacles. Learning to embrace discomfort is another crucial element in building mental toughness. Mental toughness isn't about avoiding discomfort. It's about learning to embrace it and push through it. Discomfort is often where the most growth happens. Whether it's physical discomfort from exercise, emotional discomfort from confronting your fears, or mental discomfort from facing a tough situation, it's in these moments that you grow the most. Embrace the discomfort and see it as a signal that you're growing. The stronger you get, the less discomfort will hold you back. Mental toughness is about not letting discomfort dictate your actions. It's about moving forward, even when you're uncomfortable. A strong mind also requires a healthy mindset. It's important to maintain a positive and optimistic outlook, even when you face challenges. A positive mindset doesn't mean ignoring the reality of difficult situations, but it means approaching them with the belief that you can overcome them. When you maintain a positive attitude, you're more likely to find solutions to your problems, and you're less likely to be paralyzed by fear or self-doubt. Negative thoughts and self-limiting beliefs will hold you back and make it harder to push through challenges. The key to building mental toughness is to replace negative thoughts with empowering beliefs. Instead of thinking, "I can't do this," say to yourself, "I can do hard things." Focus on what you can control and refuse to let negative thoughts undermine your strength. Consistency is another key factor in building mental toughness. It's easy to be motivated when things are going well, but the real test of mental toughness comes when things get difficult. When you're faced with adversity, that's when consistency matters the most. Mental toughness isn't about big, dramatic acts of courage. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and continuing to push through the challenges, no matter how tough it gets. Whether you're working toward a goal, improving your health, or growing your business, consistency is what will keep you on track. It's the small actions repeated every day that add up to big results over time. Consistency is what builds strength, resilience, and mental toughness. Building mental toughness also requires a willingness to take responsibility for your actions and outcomes. It's easy to blame external factors, circumstances, other people, or bad luck for the challenges you face. But the truth is that you are the one in control of how you respond to life's difficulties. Mental toughness is about taking ownership of your choices, your actions, and your results. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. When you take responsibility for your actions, you empower yourself to make changes and improve. It's in the face of challenges that your ability to take responsibility becomes a key driver of your mental toughness. Another critical element of mental toughness is the ability to remain calm under pressure. In high-stress situations, it's easy to panic or become overwhelmed, but mental toughness allows you to stay composed and think clearly, even in the face of adversity. When you can maintain your calm and focus under pressure, you're able to make better decisions and find solutions more effectively. The ability to stay calm in the face of challenges is what separates those who thrive from those who crumble. It's about remaining centered, even when everything around you seems chaotic. Number 8. The discipline to do what needs to be done. Discipline is the foundation of success. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Without discipline, dreams remain just that. Dreams, they never take root in reality. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's the difference between wishing for something and making it happen. The truth is, success doesn't come from motivation alone. Motivation can get you started, but it's discipline that will carry you through to the finish line. There are countless moments in life when you're faced with the decision to either push through the discomfort or to take the easy way out. The person who is disciplined will always choose to push forward, even when the going gets tough. Discipline is not a trait that comes naturally to most people. It's something you have to work on consistently. It's not about doing something once and expecting it to change your life. True discipline is built by making the right choices over and over again, even when it's hard, even when you don't want to, and even when no one is watching. It's easy to do what's comfortable, but growth only happens when you do what's uncomfortable. The first step to building the discipline to do what needs to be done is setting clear goals. You cannot be disciplined if you don't have a clear direction. Without goals, you're just floating through life with no real sense of purpose. Discipline thrives on a clear vision of what you want to achieve. When you know what you're working toward, it becomes easier to stay focused and put in the necessary effort. Your goals act as a constant reminder of why you need to stay disciplined. Having a vision for your future is essential because it gives you something to aim for. Without that vision, it's easy to lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing. The discipline to take the necessary actions comes from having that sense of purpose. If you're not clear on your goals, it's easy to fall into procrastination and complacency. But when you're focused on your goals, every action you take is intentional. Each task becomes a stepping stone toward reaching your ultimate objective. Another critical aspect of discipline is consistency. It's not enough to be disciplined for a day or a week. True discipline means being consistent, no matter how hard it gets or how long it takes. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and staying committed to your goals. Even on the days when you don't feel like it, even when the excitement fades, and even when obstacles arise, you continue to do what needs to be done. Discipline is the ability to stay the course, even when things get tough. The key to consistency is creating habits. When you make certain actions a habit, you don't have to rely on motivation or willpower to get them done. Habits take the decision-making process out of the equation. Instead of thinking about whether or not you'll work out, eat healthy, or focus on your goals, you simply do it because it's part of your routine. Good habits make discipline effortless. The more you practice these habits, the more automatic they become, and the less you'll struggle with staying disciplined. Another important aspect of discipline is accountability. It's easy to let yourself off the hook when no one is watching, but when you have someone holding you accountable, it becomes harder to make excuses. Accountability forces you to follow through with your commitments. It adds an external layer of responsibility that keeps you on track. Whether it's a friend, a mentor, or a coach, having someone to check in with can make a significant difference in your ability to stay disciplined. Accountability also extends to holding yourself accountable. You need to take responsibility for your actions and follow through with your commitments. The most disciplined individuals are the ones who take ownership of their behavior. They don't blame others or make excuses when things don't go as planned. They understand that their results are a direct reflection of their actions and they take full responsibility for the choices they make. Discipline also requires the ability to delay gratification. In a world that thrives on instant results, it's easy to get caught up in the desire for quick rewards, but true discipline means sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term success. Whether it's putting off a night out with friends to focus on work, forgoing the comfort of your bed to get up early and exercise, or resisting the urge to buy something unnecessary. Discipline is about making choices that align with your long-term goals. The ability to delay gratification is a hallmark of success. It's the ability to see beyond the immediate pleasure and focus on the bigger picture. Every decision you make has consequences, and the disciplined person understands that the choices they make today will impact their future. Instead of indulging in temporary pleasures, they choose to invest their time and energy in things that will pay off in the long run. This is the essence of discipline, making the tough choices that set you up for a better tomorrow. Another key to building discipline is learning to manage your emotions. Discipline isn't about being perfect or always feeling motivated. It's about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Our emotions can be powerful, but they don't have to dictate our actions. If you allow your emotions to control your decisions, you'll often find yourself making impulsive choices that lead you away from your goals. Discipline means taking control of your emotions and not letting them dictate your actions. When you can separate your emotions from your decision-making, you'll be able to stay focused on what truly matters. One of the most significant challenges to discipline is overcoming procrastination. We all face moments when we want to put things off, when we'd rather do anything but what needs to be done. But procrastination is the enemy of discipline. It delays your progress and keeps you from reaching your goals. To overcome procrastination, you need to take immediate action. The longer you delay, the more you feed into your tendency to procrastinate. Start small. Take one step forward. Even if it's just a tiny action. Momentum builds quickly, and once you start, it becomes easier to keep going. Creating a routine is another great way to build discipline. When you have a structured daily routine, you remove the need to make decisions about what you need to do next. Instead, your routine becomes the guide that keeps you on track. A routine simplifies your day and ensures that you stay disciplined, even when you don't feel like it. Whether it's your morning routine, work schedule, or exercise regimen, having a set plan for your day makes it much easier to stick to your goals. Discipline requires resilience. There will be times when things don't go according to plan, when you face setbacks or when you encounter obstacles that seem insurmountable. But resilience is about bouncing back from these challenges and continuing to move forward. The disciplined individual doesn't let setbacks derail them. Instead, they use them as lessons to learn from and grow stronger. Resilience is a key component of discipline because it allows you to keep going even when the path gets tough. The final aspect of discipline is the ability to stay focused. Distractions are everywhere, and in today's world, it's easier than ever to lose focus. But staying focused is critical to being disciplined. When you're focused on the task at hand, you eliminate the temptation to procrastinate or get sidetracked. Focus allows you to give your full attention to what you're doing, ensuring that you do it well and efficiently. The more focused you are, the more disciplined you become, because focus keeps you on track toward your goals. Number 9. Avoiding emotional reactions in tough situations. They come in all shapes and sizes. Whether it's an unexpected challenge at work, a personal loss, or a confrontation with someone close to you. In these moments, emotions run high, and it's natural to feel the urge to react. However, the ability to control emotional reactions in tough situations is what separates those who thrive from those who struggle. The goal is not to suppress emotions, but to recognize them, understand their impact, and make a conscious choice about how to respond. Emotions are powerful, but they don't have to control your actions. When you allow emotions to dictate your behavior, you often end up saying or doing things that you later regret. These knee-jerk reactions are usually impulsive and driven by immediate feelings, without considering the long-term consequences. If you want to navigate tough situations successfully, you must develop the ability to pause before reacting. This is where emotional intelligence comes into play. By cultivating awareness of your emotions and learning to manage them, you can make thoughtful, strategic decisions instead of acting out of impulse. The first step in avoiding emotional reactions is self-awareness. Understanding your emotional triggers is crucial. What causes you to become angry, upset, or frustrated? Is it a particular person, a specific situation, or a certain type of stress? The more aware you are of what sets you off, the easier it becomes to identify when those emotions start to rise. Self-awareness is like a warning system. It helps you recognize when you're getting emotional, so you can take a step back and choose how to respond. By becoming more attuned to your emotional state, you give yourself the opportunity to regain control before reacting impulsively. Once you're aware of your emotions, the next step is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is about being present in the moment without judgment. In a tough situation, your mind can race and your body can react instinctively. But mindfulness allows you to pause and observe your emotions without getting swept away by them. It's the practice of creating space between your emotions and your actions. Instead of immediately reacting to anger, frustration, or fear, mindfulness helps you to breathe, center yourself, and evaluate the situation more objectively. By training your mind to stay present and calm, you gain greater control over how you respond, even in the most challenging moments. Another important skill in avoiding emotional reactions is developing emotional resilience. Life will throw obstacles your way, but it's not about avoiding the difficulties, it's about how you respond to them. Emotional resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity without allowing it to overwhelm you. People who have high emotional resilience understand that difficult situations are a part of life, and they do not allow their emotions to dictate their actions. Instead, they face the challenge head-on, assess the situation calmly, and make decisions that align with their long-term goals. Building emotional resilience takes time, but it is an essential part of staying composed in tough situations. In moments of difficulty, it's important to remember that how you respond is more important than the situation itself. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react. Often the key to overcoming a tough situation is not about changing the circumstances, but about changing your perspective. Instead of reacting out of anger or fear, take a moment to ask yourself, what's the best response in this situation? This question shifts the focus from emotional reactivity to strategic thinking. It helps you approach challenges with a level head, rather than letting your emotions dictate your behavior. One of the most effective ways to avoid emotional reactions is to create a pause between stimulus and response. This pause is your opportunity to decide how you want to react, rather than allowing your emotions to take over. In practice, this pause could be as simple as counting to 10, taking a deep breath, or stepping away from the situation for a moment. It's the space that allows you to regain control of your thoughts and emotions. The more you practice creating this pause, the easier it becomes to avoid emotional outbursts in challenging situations. A powerful tool for managing your emotions in tough situations is reframing. Reframing is the ability to change the way you view a situation, so you can respond in a way that aligns with your values and goals. For example, instead of seeing a tough conversation with a colleague as a personal attack, reframe it as an opportunity for growth and understanding. Instead of viewing a setback as failure, reframe it as a lesson that will help you improve. Reframing shifts your mindset from one of helplessness and frustration to one of empowerment and control. It helps you respond to situations with a sense of purpose, rather than getting lost in negative emotions. It's also helpful to practice self-regulation, which is the ability to manage your emotional responses in real time. Self-regulation is not about suppressing your emotions, but rather about finding healthy ways to express them. For example, if you're feeling angry or frustrated, rather than lashing out or bottling it up, you can express your emotions calmly and constructively. Self-regulation involves understanding your emotions and using them to fuel positive actions, rather than letting them drive negative behavior. This could mean taking a few moments to gather your thoughts before responding, using positive language to express your feelings, or finding healthy outlets like exercise or journaling to release built-up emotions. The more you practice self-regulation, the easier it becomes to remain calm and collected, even when things get tough. Another key aspect of avoiding emotional reactions is managing your expectations. Sometimes, emotional reactions arise because we have unrealistic expectations about how things should unfold. We expect people to behave a certain way, or we anticipate that situations will turn out in our favor. When things don't go according to plan, we react emotionally out of frustration or disappointment. By adjusting your expectations and understanding that life doesn't always go the way you expect, you can reduce the likelihood of emotional reactions. Life is unpredictable, and while you can't control everything, you can control your response to the unexpected. The people you surround yourself with also play a significant role in how you manage your emotions. Negative or toxic individuals can exacerbate emotional reactions, pulling you into unnecessary drama or conflict. On the other hand, supportive and positive individuals can help you stay calm and focused in difficult situations. Being mindful of the relationships in your life and how they impact your emotional state is an important step in avoiding emotional reactions. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, and distance yourself from those who drain your energy or cause unnecessary stress. Finally, one of the best ways to avoid emotional reactions is to practice gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right in your life. It helps you put challenges into perspective, reminding you that even in tough situations there are things to be thankful for. When you cultivate an attitude of gratitude, you are less likely to be overwhelmed by negative emotions. Gratitude helps you see the bigger picture, allowing you to approach challenges with a sense of calm and clarity. Number 10. How to reset your mind when emotions take over. When emotions take over, it's easy to feel as though your mind is no longer in control. Anxiety, anger, frustration, fear. These intense feelings can cloud your judgment and lead to impulsive decisions. In these moments, it's essential to recognize that while you cannot always control your emotions, you do have the power to reset your mind. Resetting your mind in these moments doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing your feelings. It means taking back control and allowing yourself the space to think clearly and act with intention. The first step in resetting your mind is to acknowledge your emotions. Many people struggle with emotions because they try to push them away, ignore them, or pretend they don't exist. However, emotions are natural and part of the human experience. They are messengers that alert us to important information, like danger or discomfort. But when emotions take over, they can make us reactive rather than proactive. The key to resetting your mind is not to fight your emotions, but to recognize them, accept them, and then take control over how you respond. The moment you become aware of your emotions, pause. This pause is crucial. Instead of reacting immediately, take a moment to breathe deeply. Focus on the sensation of air filling your lungs, and then slowly exhale. This simple act of breathing helps to shift your attention from your emotional state to your body, grounding you in the present moment. Deep breathing helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming your body and mind. As you focus on your breath, allow the immediate intensity of your emotions to dissipate. During this pause, it's helpful to ask yourself a simple question: what am I feeling right now? It sounds basic, but this small act of reflection can help you understand the root of your emotions. Are you angry because you feel disrespected? Are you anxious because of uncertainty? Are you afraid of failing? By identifying the specific emotion you are feeling, you give yourself the power to address it, instead of letting it control you. Understanding the source of your emotions allows you to put them into perspective and respond appropriately, rather than reacting impulsively. Another important step in resetting your mind is to challenge the stories you are telling yourself. Emotions often arise from the narratives we create in our minds. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, you might immediately tell yourself, "That person is so rude. They don't care about me. I'm going to be late." This story feeds into your anger, amplifying the emotion. Instead of letting these negative thoughts spiral, take a moment to reframe the situation. Maybe the person didn't see you. Maybe they're in a rush. Or maybe it's not worth getting upset over in the first place. By changing the narrative, you can change how you feel. Your thoughts have a powerful impact on your emotions. So when you reset your mind, Take a moment to challenge the assumptions you've made and choose a perspective that serves you better. Sometimes resetting your mind requires you to step away from the situation entirely. If emotions are running high, it might be best to remove yourself physically from the environment, even if just for a few minutes. When we're emotionally charged, it can be difficult to think clearly. Stepping away allows you to gain some distance and clarity. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Knowing when to give yourself space and time to cool down can prevent rash decisions that you may later regret. Whether it's taking a walk, sitting in a quiet room, or going for a drive, giving yourself physical space allows your mind to reset and return to a calm state. In addition to physical space, creating mental space is also important. You can do this by engaging in activities that calm your mind and provide a mental reset. These activities vary from person to person, but they could include meditation, journaling, listening to music, or practicing gratitude. Meditation, for example, can help quiet your mind by focusing on your breath or a mantra. Journaling can help you process your emotions and put things into perspective. Gratitude practices help shift your focus from what's wrong to what's going well in your life. These activities help you break the cycle of negative thinking and create a mental space where you can regain control over your emotions. Resetting your mind also involves managing your physical state. Your emotions affect your body, and your body affects your emotions. When you're feeling anxious or angry, your body might tense up, your heart rate might increase, or you might feel restless. These physical symptoms reinforce your emotional state. Creating a cycle of stress to reset your mind, it's important to consciously relax your body. Start by checking in with your body. Are your shoulders tense? Are you clenching your jaw? Are your hands balled into fists? By releasing physical tension, you can begin to loosen the grip that emotions have on your mind. Engage in physical exercises such as stretching or yoga to help release any built-up tension. Taking care of your physical body has a direct impact on your emotional state. Another effective way to reset your mind is to engage in positive self-talk. When emotions take over, we often become our own worst critics. We might start telling ourselves that we're not good enough, that we're failing, or that we're incapable of handling the situation. These negative thoughts only fuel the emotional storm. Instead of falling into this trap, practice speaking to yourself in a kind, supportive way. Remind yourself of your strengths, your resilience, and the progress you've made. Tell yourself that it's okay to feel emotions, but that you have the ability to control how you respond. Self-compassion is key to resetting your mind. When you speak to yourself with kindness and understanding, you create a mental environment that allows you to regain control and move forward with clarity. One of the most powerful ways to reset your mind is to shift your focus to the present moment. Emotions often arise when we focus on the past or the future. We ruminate on past mistakes, replaying them over and over in our minds, or we become anxious about future events that haven't even happened yet. This kind of thinking only intensifies our emotions. Instead, focus on the here and now. Pay attention to your surroundings. Engage your senses. What do you see, hear, smell, and feel in this moment? When you focus on the present, you stop fueling emotional reactions with thoughts about the past or future. Being fully present helps you break free from the grip of negative emotions and regain control over your thoughts and actions. In moments of emotional overwhelm, remember that it's okay to not have all the answers immediately. Resetting your mind doesn't mean instantly fixing the situation or having the perfect solution. Sometimes the reset is about giving yourself the space to process your emotions before taking action. It's about recognizing that you don't have to react immediately. You can choose to respond when you're in a clearer, calmer state. Patience with yourself is an important part of resetting your mind. The goal is not perfection, but progress. To truly reset your mind when emotions take over, you must also practice resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from challenging situations without letting them define you. It's about understanding that life's difficulties are temporary, and that you have the strength to overcome them. When you cultivate resilience, you equip yourself with the tools to reset your mind even in the toughest of times. Resilience comes from consistently practicing self-awareness, mindfulness, emotional regulation, and self-compassion. Resetting your mind when emotions take over is not a one-time fix, it's a continual practice. The more you practice these strategies, the easier it becomes to regain control over your emotions and navigate challenging situations with composure. Remember, emotions are a natural part of life, but you have the power to decide how you respond to them. When you can reset your mind, you unlock your ability to make thoughtful, intentional decisions that move you toward your goals and keep you on the path to success.